Level 1. The policy. The envelope on the kitchen table says you are worth $500,000. There is one condition, printed nowhere and understood everywhere. You have to be dead to collect. It is a term life policy from Meridian Mutual, and you bought it 8 years ago because a loan officer slid it across the desk with the rest of the paperwork and said, banks like to know their money survives you. Back then, it was a formality. Back then, you owned a restaurant with 41 seats and a line out the door on Fridays, and the future was something you were building instead of something you were dodging. The restaurant died 14 months after the state moved the highway. It did not die fast. It died the way businesses actually die, one quiet Tuesday at a time, while you cut your own pay to zero and told the staff everything was fine. What is left of it lives in your mailbox. $188,000 on the loan you personally guaranteed. $67,000 on an equipment lease for a kitchen that auctioned for $9,100. $31,000 across 4 credit cards. $24,000 borrowed from your cousin at a graduation party in cash. On a handshake you can still feel. $310,000. You are 36 years old, you deliver food at night for an app, and the men who call about the money are the most punctual people in your life. 8:01 in the morning, noon, 6 in the evening. You know their hold music better than your own voice. You are 4 years behind on everything except your own death. The premium is $58 a month, auto pay, and it has never once bounced. You do not examine why. You should. Your mother is the beneficiary. She sews alterations at a dry cleaner. 34 years now, and she writes every dollar she spends in a spiral notebook, a habit since 1991. A woman who has never once lost track of a dollar, about to lose track of a son. On Sundays, she still cooks for 2 out of habit, and you still show up, and neither of you says the word restaurant anymore. You eat and you lie about the app money, and she pretends to believe you, which is its own kind of love. One night, you do the subtraction on the back of a shutoff notice. Alive, you are worth negative $310,000. Dead, you are worth $500,000 to the person you love most. The distance between those numbers is $810,000, and you fall that distance every morning in the first second after you wake up and remember who you are. A bankruptcy attorney tells you Chapter 7 could clear most of it inside a year. You nod. You take his card. You never call him back, and if you are honest, which you will not be for years, it was never really about the debt. The debt is just the invoice. What you want to escape is the man who ran up the bill. At 1 a.m., you find the forums. Men asking how to vanish. Most of the answers are jokes. One account answers every question the same way. Patient, professional, and signs off with the same line every time. Everyone comes back, unless they book with a professional. A consultation costs $200, cash, mailed to a box number. You mail it the next morning. It is the first bill you have paid early in 4 years. Level 2. The current. He picks a food court, 10 on a Tuesday morning. The deadest retail hour in America. Golf shirt, reading glasses, a folder full of laminated pages. He looks like a man who sells cruises to retirees. And in a way, that is exactly what he is. He never says the word death. He says departure. He never says fraud. He says itinerary. Halfway through the coffee, he slides a luggage tag across the table with a number stamped into it. 71. Clients are itineraries, he says. You're 71. People call him the travel agent, and a one-way departure costs $25,000. For that you get the story, the date, the location, a set of rules and papers in a new name. He taps the folder like a menu. Everything you need to land. You spend 5 months liquidating a life without looking like a man liquidating a life. The truck brings $9,500. The tools, $3,100. The watch, the fishing gear, the espresso machine you saved from the restaurant auction because you could not stand to watch it go. It takes 36 years to build a life and 5 months to sell one, and the market pays 11 cents on the dollar. $26,800 in a gym bag, and $25,000 of it is spoken for. The rules are short. Departures are water, because water is the only story that does not require a body. Rivers in spring, when they run high and cold. Water does the paperwork, he says like a man quoting a brochure. No goodbye letters, no strange last phone calls, no sudden hugs. And the rule he repeats twice, slowly. Do not attend your own funeral. Everyone attends. Everyone gets caught in the parking lot. The date he circles is in March. The river that morning is 34 degrees and moving like it has an appointment. 5:40 a.m. Your breath hanging in front of your face, a rented canoe, your phone in your pocket with your mother's number on the screen, unpressed. You stand on the bank long enough for the cold to come up through your boots and find your spine. What happens on the water takes 11 minutes, and you will never describe it to anyone, including yourself. The canoe goes on without you. So do you. 1,900 miles of buses, paid in cash, over 3 days. Somewhere in Tennessee, on a cracked prepaid phone, you find your own face on a local news site. Search suspended. Presumed drowned. The word presumed does more work in your life than any word before it. The funeral is on a Thursday. The church streams it because churches stream everything now, and you watch it on a public library computer 2 states away. It runs 41 minutes. The counter in the corner says 63 views. You are the 64th. The casket costs $9,400 and holds nothing, which makes it the most honest purchase in this entire story. Your mother sits in the front pew and does not cry the way television taught you to expect. She sits very straight, holding her purse like a woman balancing a number that will not balance. Here is what the travel agent never mentioned, because he sells departures, not arrivals. Without a body, there is no quick death certificate. Without a death certificate, no insurance company on earth writes a check. They open a file instead. Investigators, interviews, a court that can take years to declare a missing man dead, and adjusters paid by the hour to make sure it takes longer. Your mother is not rich. Your mother is $9,400 deeper in debt, at 19% interest for an empty box. That was week 1 of the plan. You are officially missing now, and missing, you learn, is not a location. It is an occupation. Level 3, cash only. The Gulf town at the end of the last bus has a shrimp fleet, a bait shop, and a motel called the Pelican that rents rooms for $240 a week. Cash, no questions asked and none answered. $960 a month for a room worth $400. This is your introduction to the dead man's tax. Everything costs more when you cannot prove you exist. No lease, so you pay motel rates forever. No bank, so your cash sleeps in a duffel bag, earns nothing, and can be taken by anyone with a crowbar. No deposit ever comes back to you. No complaint you make goes anywhere. Being alive was expensive. Being dead has a markup. The papers in the folder say your name is Wade. You will never find out if the joke was intentional. They survive exactly one real test. A landlord with an actual apartment, $700 a month, runs your application, and something in his voice changes on the callback. You never go back. Not even for the deposit. $25,000 bought paper that dissolves the first time anybody holds it to the light. You paid boutique prices for a swap meet product, and you cannot even complain because the complaints department is a courtroom, so you go where paper does not matter. The doc hires at 4:30 a.m. and pays at sundown, $90 a day, cash, ice, diesel, rope, the smell of shrimp that moves into your skin like a tenant. The doc has one HR question. Can you lift and can you shut up? You can do both. Nobody here uses last names. Half the crew is running from something, and the captain pays everyone from the same roll of 20s. You practice the new signature 400 times on motel stationery. Answering to Wade takes one beat too long for the first 6 months. A half second where a dead man flickers behind your eyes. One night in a bar, somebody yells your real name across the room at somebody else, and your whole body turns before your brain can stop it. You leave a full beer on the counter and never go back to that bar. The arithmetic of the afterlife fits on a napkin. $90 a day, 6 days when the weather allows. The room takes $240. Food takes $70 because you learned food math in a restaurant and never forgot it. A good week saves $150 folded into a tackle box, and the tackle box grows the way rust grows, slowly, in the dark. Tuesday nights there is a payphone outside the bait shop, one of the last ones in the state. You dial 9 digits of your mother's number and stop. Every Tuesday, long distance costs $2.75. and you have paid it 40 times without ever spending a cent. The old man who runs the bait shop watches you do it from behind the register, week after week, saying nothing, a newspaper folded in front of him, always folded to the same page. In November, he finally speaks. You hang that phone up one more time without dialing. I'm going to start charging you rent on it. You freeze. He pours a second cup of coffee from a pot older than you are and slides it down the counter. You count your change like a man who's new at being poor, he says, and you watch that road like it owes you a car. Breathe, kid. Nobody's coming. That's the good news and the bad news. The sign over the door says his name is Hollis. The page his newspaper is always folded to is the obituaries. Level 4. The MARINA. Hollis is 71 years old, reads the obituaries every morning the way other men read box scores, and has an opinion on every entry. 62. Golfer. Says he died doing what he loved, a sip of coffee. Slow game, though. He runs the bait shop, fixes marine diesels in the shed behind it, and fishes off the same piling every evening of his life. He has never once kept a fish, not one in all the years anyone can remember. Everything he catches, he unhooks, studies for a second, and lowers back into the water. You ask him why exactly once. Everything I catch, I put back, he says, and does not explain, and you file it under old men being old men. You are wrong about what you just filed. You will find out how wrong at 4 in the morning, 2 years from now. In June, he closes the shop early, drives to the Winn-Dixie, and comes back with a small lemon cake and 2 plastic forks. He cuts 1 slice for himself and 1 for you, then carries the rest to the end of the pier and throws it to the gulls, handful by handful, like a man paying a toll. Happy Death Day, he says, sitting back down. 31 years. The man Hollis used to be went into the water in another state, in another century, owing $412,000 to men considerably less patient than a bank. He does not tell it with pride or shame. He tells it like a weather report from somewhere he used to live. Every marina in America has one of us, he says. We spot each other by what we don't ask. He teaches you the rules the travel agent never sold, the ones that actually keep a dead man dead. Dead men drive 54 in a 55. Dead men lose every argument on purpose. Dead men do not win bar fights, do not win raffles, do not get photographed, do not get memorable, because memorable is free, and you cannot afford anything that is free. Never go back. And the last rule, the one he says quietly, looking at the water. Never look. It is the only rule nobody keeps. That winter, he puts a wrench in your hand. Restaurant hands, it turns out, are mechanic hands, burn-scarred and precise. And diesel is just a recipe with torque in it. By the second spring, you are the marina's engine man at $260 a day, and the tackle box holds $11,400. And some afternoons, elbow deep in an old Detroit, with Hollis handing you sockets and slandering the newly deceased, you catch yourself being happy. The guilt arrives inside the same breath. Grief, you learn, runs in both directions. You mourn her too. The difference is that you chose it, and choosing it means you never get to say so. So you break the last rule. A library, 40 minutes inland. You type your own name. The article is 3 years old. Family still waits for answers by the river. The photograph is your mother on the bank with carnations from a grocery store, and she has aged more than 3 years. And under the picture, there is a quote, "I just want to know where my son is." You are 1,900 miles away, holding a computer mouse, knowing exactly where her son is. The dry cleaner, one line mentions, now opens on Sundays. In July, mail comes to the bait shop. A glossy postcard. A beach that could be anywhere. No return address. It is addressed to Wade. 6 words on the back in careful pen. Wish you were here. Your agent. Under the words, a phone number. Hollis watches your face across the counter and sets the obituaries down. And for the first time since you met him, the old man looks old. You paid $25,000 for a one-way ticket. There is no such thing. Every ticket is round trip. The return leg just bills separately. Level 5, the renewal. You call the number from the payphone you have never once finished dialing. He answers on the 3rd ring, cheerful, like a man confirming a reservation. "Wade," he says. How's the weather down there? He knows the weather. That is the entire message. 4 pleasant words about the sky. And what they actually say is, I know which coast you sleep on. I know the name on your motel receipt. I know what your Tuesdays look like. Small administrative matter, he says. There's a rebooking fee, $10,000. Cash, mailed inside a hollowed-out marine repair manual to a box number within 14 days. You pay $18 extra for tracking, and you stand in the post office parking lot laughing at that alone, hard enough to worry a woman loading her trunk. Tracking on a blackmail payment. You wanted to be sure it arrived. The tackle box goes from $11,400 to $1,400 in one afternoon. 2 years of $150 weeks, gone in the weight of one package. That night, Hollis pours 2 coffees and does not ask. So you tell him anyway. Ah, he says, the subscription. He paid his own man for 11 years, he tells you. 11 years of envelopes to a post office box in Baton Rouge. What happened after 11? Customer service improved. He blows on his coffee. He died. You do the arithmetic you were built to do. Alive, you paid $58 a month to be worth something dead. Dead, you pay $10,000 a year to stay that way. There is no level of this where you stop paying premiums. There is only the question of who holds the policy on you, and the answer is never you. You think about the luggage tag, 71. You used to believe that was a client number. It is a route number. He is running 71 of you at least, spread along the coast like vending machine. And every year, he walks the route and collects. He never sold exits. He sold subscriptions, and you signed the longest contract of your life standing up in a food court. For 5 months, nothing happens, and you learn that nothing happening is a product too. You are renting silence now, the way you rent the room, the way you rented the name. You vary your route home. You check mirrors at stop signs. You drive 54 in a 55 all the way down to the parking lot of your own life. You ask Hollis one night why he never ran from his own collector. 11 years of envelopes, and the man knew his address the whole time. Running costs more, he says. Every town you land in, you start over at the bottom of being nobody. New dock, new counter, new people deciding if your face adds up. I had a shop by then, a pier, a cat that came around. He shrugs. You can only afford to disappear once. After that, you're just moving. You work like fear, because fear is the best budget there is. Engine jobs stack up. The tackle box climbs back to $6,400 by late fall. The second postcard beats winter to the bait shop. Same beach, same careful pen. Rates have increased. $15,000. 30 days. $15,000. You have $6,400. The travel agent gives you 30 days. The gray Malibu arrives in 19. Level 6. The adjuster. The man in the gray Malibu parks where he can see the whole marina and eats lunch slowly out of a cooler, like a man being paid by the hour, because he is. On the second day, he comes into the bait shop and lays a photograph on the counter. It is your face, run forward through a computer, 4 years older. The computer guessed well. It guessed the beard. It guessed the sun. Looking for this fella, he says. Pruitt, Meridian Mutual, Special Investigations. He sets a business card by the register, face up. Thank you. A pause. Quieter, like a habit. Thank you. Hollis holds the photo at arm's length, the way a man reads a menu without his glasses. Handsome, he says. Charter boat face. Try Port Arthur. Fellas like that end up running charters. Pruitt nods and does not leave town. For 3 days you feel him the way you feel weather. He buys bait he does not use. He asks the doc about engines, about who fixes them, and the doc answers the way the doc answers everything, which is barely. You sleep in your boots. You catch yourself pricing bus tickets in your head. That night the motel television explains everything. Upstate, 3 states away, a man in a golf shirt has been arrested on tax charges, and agents are carrying boxes out of a storage unit. The reporter says documents. You know what is in those boxes. Routes, 78 little tags, and somewhere in the stack, the receipts of a certain marine repair manual, mailed with tracking. You built the map to your own door and paid $18 for the privilege. The knock comes at 4 in the morning, 2 years after you filed an old man's fishing habit under Old Men Being Old Men. 2 knocks, soft. Hollis, dressed, keys in hand. Get up. Bring the tackle box. He drives you inland through the dark, and says nothing for 40 miles, and then he puts a coffee can in your lap. Inside is $9,000, rolled tight, 31 years of hurricane money. You start to argue, and he talks over you for the first time ever. Everything the water gives me, I put back, and you finally understand the fish. Every evening, all those years, unhooking what he caught and lowering it home. It was never about fish. Some men tithe. Hollis returns things. You washed up in his town, half drowned, and you are the largest thing the water ever handed him. The bus station board lists 11 cities, and standing under it, you see the truth of the itinerary. All 11 are the same city. A weekly motel, a cash dock, a new signature that takes a beat too long, a tackle box growing the way rust grows until a postcard finds it, getting older at 54 in a 55, forever. There is no bus on that board that goes anywhere. There are only buses that go again. Hollis presses something into your hand, along with the can. Pruitt's card. He left it. I kept it in case you got tired. You look at 11 cities for a long time. You get tired. The payphone by the ticket window takes your quarters at 5:40 in the morning, and the last time you were awake at 5:40 with your heart doing this, you were standing on a riverbank. Pruitt answers on the second ring, awake, like a man who has been waiting 4 years for a phone to ring. You say your own name out loud for the first time since March on the river. It fits like a key. Stay by the phone, Pruitt says. Thank you. And then again, quieter. Thank you. Level 7. Proof of life. Turning yourself in takes 9 minutes. Turning back into yourself takes 2 years. Here is the secret nobody sells at food courts. Dying is legal. There is no law against a canoe in a cold river and letting people believe. What they charge for is everything you have to buy to stay dead. The papers, the plan, the claim your mother filed in good faith on your bad faith. You plead to the papers and the plan. 14 months federal, plus $31,000 in restitution to Meridian for 4 years of searching. The court values the search. You are the only man on the docket being billed for hide and seek. Hollis's hurricane money buys the lawyer $12,000, and she earns it. A judge declared you dead in your 3rd year, at your family's request, so your mother could bury the paperwork too. Undoing it takes 11 weeks and 4 hearings. You stand in a courtroom while one clerk reads your death into the record, so another clerk can cross it out. And you are the only man in the building whose legal problem is a pulse. In an interview room over styrofoam coffee, Pruitt tells you about page 1. 4 years behind on everything except your own death, he says. $58 a month, auto pay, never bounced, out of an account with nothing in it. Dead men stop paying to be worth something. Planning men never miss. He taps the file. That was the whole case, day 1. The rest was waiting. In 14 months of interviews, he never once asks about the old man at the bait shop. Some questions he decides not to ask. It will take you years to recognize that as the largest professional courtesy of your life. Then there is a door you have not knocked on in 5 years. She opens it and looks at you and closes it. You stand on the mat and let the door be closed because she buried you and you owe her the closed door. It opens again after 4 minutes. Was it the money? It was the math. She looks at you the way she used to look at a crooked hem. Your math was wrong. Inside, on the table, the spiral notebook is open. Every dollar since 1991 in her small, careful hand. There is 1 month with a single entry, $9,400, and then 3 blank pages. The only blank pages in 35 years. She does not come to the sentencing. She sends the lawyer a note instead, 4 words, and the lawyer reads it to you in the hallway. Tell him I waited. You think about the payphone. 40 Tuesdays, $2.75 a week. Never spent. Both of you paying for calls that never happened. You serve the 14 months reading insurance trade journals in the prison library, and you recognize your own biography formatted as bullet points in the red flag literature. Pruitt visits in month 9 with a proposition instead of a question. Insurers keep drawers of claims they can neither pay nor close. No body, no answer. He offers $400 a file for your eyes. You do not look for the death. You look for the bill the man never missed. Your first clean month comes to $3,100, and it is the first money in 5 years with your name on it, and the name is the heavy part. The first check you write is a cashier's check for $9,400. Your mother takes it to the table, opens the notebook to the blank pages, and writes 1 word, paid. On Sundays, she cooks for 2 again. On purpose now. There is an entire industry built on a single question. Is he really dead? You are the only expert who has ever been the exhibit. Level 8. The claim. Here is the ending nobody sells at food courts either. There is no glass with your name on it. There never will be. A felony is paperwork too, and it outlives everything it touches. The carriers want your eyes, never your name, so the files come through the lawyer, and the checks come through the lawyer, and on every report you write, the signature line belongs to somebody else. $650 a file now. You are the best in the country at a job that cannot admit it employs you. You came back from the dead, and the world said, fine, stay useful, stay quiet, stay gone. The restitution takes 6 years at $430 a month. What is left after that is not a fortune. It is a life. At 50, you have $58,000, a paid-off truck, and a one-bedroom with a window facing the water. And you understand better than any man alive that enough was never a number. You mail your cousin a cashier's check for $24,000. 14 years late, he cashes it in 4 days. He never calls. Some debts you can pay. The handshake was the loan, and there is no repaying a handshake. You testify against the travel agent for 1 unpaid hour. 78 luggage tags in his files. 62 itineraries have come home, one way or another. He gets 9 years, and on his way out, he nods at you like a man greeting a frequent flyer. You flew his airline twice. Once out, once back. Nobody lands where they left. Your mother got her Sundays back, and you got yours. And you both pretend that is the same as getting the years back. Every Tuesday at 8 she calls and lets it ring twice. And you answer before the third ring, always. Because you both know what an unanswered Tuesday means. Neither of you has ever said it out loud. Neither of you ever will. You made your mother into an investigator. It is the one claim you will never close. In the back of her notebook, pressed flat between the pages, she still keeps the program from your funeral. You saw it once, looking for a pen. You put it back exactly where it was and washed your hands like a man who touched a stove. Hollis dies at 79, in his chair at the end of the pier, pole in hand, bobber still up. The gulls tell the town. Burying him under his real name takes $11,000 in filings you do not have, so you earn it the only way you earn anything, file by file, 4 years, and the stone finally says Edwin Hollis Gray. Everyone keeps something. He kept the middle. It is the only name you ever get restored. It is not yours. Your own headstone is still standing in a cemetery upstate. You drove up once to have it removed, and you stood in front of your own name for an hour, and then you left it there, because the stone is not wrong. The man it names did not survive the river. You are what the water sent back instead. Then it is a Thursday in April, and a courier drops a file on the desk that is not really yours. Mail 34. Canoe. A river in spring. Running high and cold. No body recovered. Policy, $750,000. Premiums, current, auto pay, never bounce. You read it in 11 minutes and you know everything the file does not say. You know the weekly room, the signature that takes a beat too long, the month of feeling free, and you know the part no report has a line for. Even if he climbs back up that bank tonight, the man who owns his front door is already gone. You could not claim him either. He thinks he just escaped. He thinks the river is where it ends. You know what it actually is. It is where the premiums start. He does not know yet what it costs, but he will.